Sawtooth Day, what's happening, y'all? Another Sunday on the roll. Got to go do work, but you know, we trying to keep it busy while we can. Oh, hope y'all had a great week. It's gonna be more of a sitting, bullshitting kind of Sunday, so if y'all ain't into that, I don't know why you're watching my channel anyhow, because that's all I ever do. So yeah, let's see how we're gonna get started. This, yeah, okay, we'll do it that way. The M3 from last week, neither guy claimed the prize. And I kind of found out that D's Knives was Danny. For what I know, he may or may not still be D's Knives, I don't know. But I think Captain Electro became D's Knives too. So I don't know which D's Knives commented on the video that I picked the comment from to win the M3. So if any of you guys know any of those guys, get with them, figure out who did what. I'll take it for the word, that's fine. But like, I want to hold out and give either one of them a chance, because it's kind of confusing right now. So we'll wait another week, see what happens. Another one of guys contact me in a week and we'll re-roll it, see what we get. Because Avery, the other guy who his name was drawn, like he didn't watch the video either, so it ain't no big deal. That's just how we get it, you know. I mean, somebody will eventually win that M3. Somebody probably wants it. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, project's finished, because, well, you know, nothing's ever really done, but I put it on Instagram the other day, but I kind of want to talk about some of the subtleties of it, if y'all don't care. You've already seen the finish on it, but I decided to go ahead and reprofile the Skype. So now the finger control is deeper. It's much deeper. And then I took that little, let me get the other one out so y'all see. By the way, Will, this is the one I was talking about, buddy. If you watch the video, you can see how it's got that reverse kind of tanto up in here. And I just basically took it from the tip back, and that's what I did on this one. It just kind of made it a little more pokey. And if you see the little wear right here, it's because I jabbed in a few things to check the strength of it, to make sure it'd be good for me. But really, it's nothing crazy as far as redesign or nothing like that. I did it the same way I always do it. I took it in there, roughed it with the angle grinder and water, and then I took it on that drill press with the stones like I showed y'all before. If y'all ain't seen that video, you can kind of search back. It's back in there somewhere. I don't know. Not the best YouTuber. I don't do the YouTube things. But the forward finger control makes it a huge difference. Like, it really does change the way that knife feels in hand. And I'm not going to say it's like Strider ergos. It definitely doesn't have those Strider ergos. But it definitely is way easier to choke up and feel. I'm glad I left it a stud, and I'm glad I left the flipper. I did redesign that flipper. I don't know if I ever really went into detail about that. But, you know, it had the whole Hinderer-esque sharp spots. But I'm going to put them side by side so you can kind of see them. If I can get the shit, there we go. So you can kind of see them better there. So you can see it's redesigned a little more curve into that flipper, and then you also see how generous that finger control is on the new one versus the original. But you can see depth-wise, it's I almost went to the same depth. I just kind of extended it out and then rolled it back up. So yeah, you lost a little cutting surface there, but it is what it is. To sharpen this one, let's see if I can show you. It probably still dirty a little bit because I'm poking shit, but I want, you know, this is, you know, it's a V-ground main bevel, but it's chisel on the secondary, which I've never had a really good look, man. Like, chisel grounds ain't really my thing. But anyhow, I try to give it a convex instead of a big, huge, you know, and to see what it would do. I don't know if it's going to come in there, but I did it faceted. So, like, I sharpened with the KME on this one anyhow. And I basically took it every 2 degrees. So I think I started at like, I think the most laid down was 17, and it wasn't barely hitting the very back edge of it. And then it went to like, I think 20, maybe 22, 25, 27 to 29 or something like that. It's weird when you sharpen the chisel edge, because the angles don't make sense, because the backside is what it is. You really don't know what that angle is. You're just kind of stropping it or you know, stoning it or whatever to get it off. And I'd end up putting a micro bevel on the backside just to kind of make it sharp where I like it anyhow. But overall, like, I'm pretty happy with the knife at this point. It's definitely more me. It definitely had a different feel to it now, and I feel like that's 100% different and justifies kind of why I have, you know, the 2.5 and the 2.0 now, because this is all black. This is number 1 of the 2.5. I'll have to show this a million times. But anyway, that's a cool little mod, kind of done. Figured I'd share that one with you. But once again, like, once mods are done and everything's done with the knife, I love my modded knives. I actually, lately here, I've been really loving the modification part of the knife hobby. So I've been doing more and more of it. I think I showed this one before. I know I did, actually. And I just tweaked it a little bit with the lock bar engagement and made the engagement a little deeper on that. And I'm thinking about changing the studs a little bit on these because they are pretty broad. They're as wide as that. I know my whole setup here sucks, but let's turn it around. They're as wide as that pivot. So I think it's like 800 thousandths or something. So I thought about cutting a little V in it, kind of similar to what's on the Nocturnal knife. You see how that's kind of cut with a slant in it? Hopefully that comes out in video. See how it's got a slant on it? Which is good. I like that, you know, the angle into it kind of feels good when you do that. This Nocturne knife, like this, or Nocturnal knives, I'm sorry. I get the two, I'm sorry, Dan. Nocturne knives and Nocturnal knives gets confused in my brain, and I've got both the last week, so it's confusing. But they're a little sharp. These are sharp. And, well, I'll get to this knife here in a second. But, I like both these style knives for different reasons. Y'all gonna think I'm kind of well, y'all probably already think I'm crazy, but you learn the flaws of a knife and in design and stuff like that. So like, as I'm advancing more stuff I make, hey socks, as I'm advancing and doing more stuff that I'm making, and I guess more or less kind of moving towards maybe making something eventually of my own, you kind of learn what to and what not to do. I learn more from the negatives than I do from the positive. And I hate to say it that way, but I've kind of always been that way. So on this one, I learned that you definitely want that stop pin on not touching this. I think I showed it before in a video. Did I show the air? I don't remember if I showed the gap or not. I don't know. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't on the video. Let's see if we can get it, show it. But anyway, the stop pin, you want it to touch on this lock side. So there's no variance in how it locks up. It locks up the same every time. And on the downside of it, you want that stop pin, which this one stops on the back side, hits the back side of the blade right there, but it stops where that lock's consistent for the, or the detent rather, is consistent in the lock, so you don't have that detent lash. So this has 0 lash. It's really good as far as lash goes. This turned out to be a pretty decent knife, man. Not bad at all. Like, actually, like, I got it set up a little tight right now. It's phosphor bronze, but it's overall, like, the design is what it is, but as far as functionality goes, after I tweaked it, it did pretty good. But I'm thinking about doing that slash cut in those thumb studs to give it a little bit more, because right now it's just a little bit high, and that radius of that thumb stud, this little radius right here, kind of just hits your finger wrong. So it just don't kind of work out as right. I showed y'all the EOS last weekend when I did the studs on it. It was like a little more taper on it, and that kind of worked better for it, in my opinion. So I'll probably do that to that one and then call it 100% done too. But here comes the opinion part time. So it's Nocturnal knives. So y'all, I already told you the story about how crazy this thing was and coming resistance and all the other stuff and how I ended up getting with it. Would y'all modify this if it was yours? Like, I already have modified it. I put that hole in that pivot just to keep it still so I can undo the thing and get it apart and see what's the hole going on inside. But would you modify this if it was yours? Or would you just leave it as is and use it as a collector piece? Because, like, it has flaws. I take it as a challenge to fix it, make it functional. I don't know why I do that, but that's mentally, that's kind of where I'm at on this. So the main, I already went over one. There's a couple of them actually, but these are super, super sharp, ridiculous. So they really need something else, you know, in addition to or in lieu of this pin to make it better for operation. It just tears your fingers up. And then the flipper, and it's on phosphor bronze, so flipper, you can kind of get it to work, but when you get it to work, the knife's really too loose. It's looser than it needs to be. Sorry, Miss Socks is dying for some attention. Been raining this morning, so she ain't got no attention. The flipper only works when the knife's looser, when I would like to run it as. And then on the detent side of things, let's see if I can show you with the lock bar here. It'd probably be easy to show you. The stop pin is hitting on this lock bar side and it's making it rock. You see how that lock bar rocks at the stop position? So that's a flaw. It needs to stop somewhere else, right? So it either needs an internal stop pin added, an external stop pin on this back side like I showed you a minute ago. But if you do that, then it's in the way of the flipper path. So, you know, conundrums. So, tell me your advice. Would you mod it or would you not mod it? Hope you don't mind me pounding the gato right here, but she needs some time too, and I only got a limited amount, so we're doing both things at once. So would y'all mod this or would you not mod it? Kind of undecided right now. I don't know if I will or won't, but you know, we'll see what happens, I guess. Speaking of modding things, this one came from Billy over at Apex Alchemy. He did a video on it. When I saw that video, he was pretty down on this knife. You know, I think he wanted or expected something more than what he got for it. And it's the 229. And him and Courtney had fun, and they did the whole dyeing the scale thing. And I think it actually pretty funky. I mean, I think it was jade to start with. So I actually had this last week, but I wasn't going to say nothing about it because I wanted to have a little bit of time with it to figure out if I liked what was going on with it and what I would do with it. I did add a little more lock bar pressure to it so that it had a little bit better on the detent. I don't really care about the whole drop shutty thing, and judging from his Colt Steel 4 Max video he just did, he'd probably rather not have drop shutty because he'd take his fingers out. But a couple things I've noticed from this one. So it's weird to me because, like, I hate to keep saying it, but like my buddy Nick Edwards says, the titanium frame locks from China all have a similar feel, and it's kind of a generic-y feel. It's not really, it don't have the personality and it's too perfect, I guess. Is that what I'm trying to say? Maybe it's so perfect that it's vanilla. I don't know, but they have a different feel to it. And yeah, the action is good on them, but they don't really have the whole personality thing that I like in knives. So a couple things that I've noticed with this one, and I had Mateo's 228 a while back, the American-made one. I think it's pretty much the same. I don't really see a huge difference. I mean, it might be slightly different size-wise and, you know, construction-wise, but the feel of the whole knife felt pretty close to this, whether it be American-made or Chinese-made. So take all that with a grain of salt. I'm just talking shit because I can, I guess. I don't like the 2 screws in the skull. Everybody says that shit, but it really takes away from that look, especially if you've seen the early Chavez's. It just looks so much cooler without that, just the skull hanging there. I may or may not do something with that. By the way, I'm customizing this knife for Billy if y'all ain't figured it out yet. And I'm not really 100% telling him what's going on with it, so I'm just asking your advice. Y'all got more ideas that I didn't think of. You know, I may apply them, I may not. I don't know. I'll show you when it's done, but I kind of want him to get the knife back before I show you. So it may be one of those I record it in advance and then slide it in on a Wednesday or something. I don't know. So I'm planning on making a tie scale for him for it, which I already have the CAD drawn up and I already have the stock cut. So I pretty much got to mill it when time permits, right? But I was, after handling this for a while, I'd already done that, and I already drawn the master cam file is already pretty much done, which ain't that big deal to modify. But after I, you know, mess with this a few times at the house and stuff, these points are kind of sharp. They're like I think it's 20 or 30 thou radius. I can't remember what it is on these points. They're pretty sharp, man. Like even down in here, everything's pretty sharp. And so I don't know if I like that or not personally. Like even when I made my sawtooth scales, where the hell did my sawtooth go? There it is. You see how they're nice and round? The radiuses are nice and round. I made them a little bit bigger than what the factory was because I like that nice roundness of it. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't give you that pokey feeling even when you're directly on it. So yeah, I found these kind of a little bit on the pokier side. So I'd definitely like to change that. The other kind of thing I'm kicking the idea about, and I'm not a contour scale guy, so y'all know that. But like, let's take the contour side. You see how that's contoured? This is a 3/16 scale, but because it's contoured, it's super thin on the edge. It's not my thing. But if I take a scale like this and then contour it in the height, instead of making it shorter, keep the width on the side the same and kind of billow it up, I think that might make something cool. And I think from what Billy was saying, he was expecting a heavier duty, full titanium kind of knife. And I'm thinking that might just be the trick. So I'm contemplating the idea of doing that whole contoured scale thing. I don't know. I hadn't done one before. I probably need some help on the programming of it from a buddy at work, but he needs a fireplace insert welded up, so I'll probably do that for him, and he'll help me with the programming, teach me a little something in the process. In case y'all thought I was some kind of master programmer, I definitely am not. I can do most of the basic stuff pretty well, but other than that, when it starts getting advanced, you start talking about 3D, you know, sometimes even 4 or 5 axis style stuff. Like I can do some of that stuff, but not really good, not proficient. So I'll probably end up calling in the cavalry on this for some help if I end up doing that. But that's ideas on this one. So y'all got any more ideas about the 229? If I didn't already say it's 229. probably everybody knows that already anyhow. But if I get any more ideas about what you do if you were going to change the scale, and probably finishes too, because he said he didn't like the black, which kind of odd to me because I kind of dig the black. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. From this point forward, I'll take your suggestions. Hopefully get somebody to say something, but then I'm going to probably go work on it in the background and not let y'all see it until it's done. Let's see. While we're talking about Nocturnal knives and this Nocturnal knives, Dan, he's a sharpener. He's also a reviewer, YouTube channel. He sharpened up a few for me. And, you know, it's not like I can't sharpen. I just like to see what's out there as far as sharpening. And you kind of gauge yourself as to what you can and can't do to other sharpeners. So he did this DSK for me, which it came out super nice. And to Mr. Steve Clare, I sent you the other one of these. I sent you Hot Rods version of this, so it has a flipper on it. I didn't know if you're a flipper guy or not flipper guy. And this the Spartan Parsley folder. He did the edge on that one. He didn't come all the way. He asked me about adding the relief to it, but y'all know I like to mod my own stuff, so I told him to do what he wanted to do. If he wanted to do it, that's fine. If not, I just prefer to do it myself. So he's just let me do it myself. He just sharpened the best he could. He did all this by hand, man. So almost mirror edge on all these. I don't know if you would call it mirror edge. I don't know. I lose track of all that kind of stuff. To me, I'm not a mirror edge kind of guy because I haven't found my performance is any better sharpening wise when I get to the mirror versus when I just stop at 600 and strop. So I just stop at 600 and strop most of the time. And then this is the one that I was like amazed by the quality of it, how he did that. This design, if y'all didn't know already, Amazon. Look at that tip, man. That when you get them 0 points or the big huge bevels like that, they're kind of more of a pain in the ass on them fixed angle sharpening systems because the angles don't always match up, and it's kind of, you got to kind of work with. If you sharpen, you know. But anyway, I kind of wanted to check his sharpening stuff out. Obviously, I just showed you that Skype, so I've been using it too. But that's my level of what the hell. I guess I better show you the edge that's actually sharp. That's my level of shiny sharp. Like I'm just not into the whole polish kind of thing. It's everybody's in a different part of the hobby. I mean, I do it effectively, but it's effective for me, right? And if it dulls up, I'll just go sharpen it again. I don't really care. I'm not into the whole keeping it perfect look. Matter of fact, perfect usually sucks for me. And then lastly for this week, and I know this has been all over the place, but anyway, thanks Dan, appreciate the knife, and super good job sharpening. I really appreciate it. Mr. Clare actually through Grumpy, he sent me one to check out, but also he sent me some other stuff, and yeah, I got the pink slip. I hate those pink slips, dude. You see those in the mail, and you're like, damn it, man, I could have been playing with something tonight, and instead I got to take a trip to the post office or something, and the trip to the post office for me ain't exactly easy, so I hate dealing with USPS. I really do. Y'all know, if you've ever gotten anything from me, it came from FedEx, unless you only got a P.O. box, and then I had to go to USPS, which I hate dealing with them people. I really do. Everybody's different in different areas, I know. I'm not going to rant too much. Yeah, everybody has their own feelings. But this one I seen on Stevie's channel, and I haven't seen it on Grumpy's yet, but Grumpy did say he was going to post something. Maybe he did it on live. I generally don't watch lives because y'all can sit in here, sit here and see me bullshitting with y'all for 20, 25 minutes, whatever my videos usually are, and probably get tired and turn it off. Like, I can't get 20 minutes or 2 hours of that. Like, ain't nobody going to watch that shit for 2 hours. So, like, that's how lives feel like to me. Like, if you're about the knife content, you keep it rolling, I can watch the lives. Like Eon's Edge, I can watch most of his lives because he kind of has little sections and jumps through it. And the just hang out lives kind of thing, like it's just not my flavor, man. We all into different stuff. I ain't trying to judge nobody. Don't take it wrong. Long about way of saying, Steve, let me borrow this. This is a Bradford G3f. So the G3, I believe, is his fixed blade Guardian 3. Which is a 3-inch blade, which I believe this is just over that. I think it's 3 1/4-ish, something like that. That specs are in there. I didn't really pay too much attention. I just wanted to check the knife out. So this is American made, and it's been made years ago. So I think the first video I saw was like 7 years ago or 5 years ago or something like that. So it's been around for a while, and I don't think there's a whole lot left of them for sale. And the prices I saw on these were around $400. So they're not an inexpensive knife at all. So for $400, you know, like, you're dealing with like almost Chris Reeve money at that point, right? Or at least used to be before the price got up. Which I probably should do a video about, you know, the whole inflation, price increase, all that stuff. But I'm not really an economist. I got my opinions about that kind of stuff. But, you know, we'll leave it alone. Sorry, tangents. Coffee in me too. So the G3f, super snappy flipper. When it came to me, it did have a little bit of clickety-clackety on the pocket clip, and the lock bar needed just a hair bit more attention. So I just asked Steve if he minded I tuned it up. He said, yeah, go ahead, tune it up. But it's kind of cool. I like taking a knife apart like this and seeing what's on the inside and seeing how I would change or design or what I would add or fix to this little guy. And I don't know if y'all can hear that, how snappy that thing is, but it's like, man, it's wicked snappy. But it is one of those knives where if you're on that lock bar, hell no, that thing ain't letting go. It ain't even letting go. But if you're off of it, easy as peasy. No problem at all. Interesting thing about this one. So as I'm getting more into the whole modern stuff, I'm buying hardware and stuff. I don't know if I brought it or not, but these screws are titanium. It's all titanium hardware. And so, and I'm sure this has been apart a couple of times because I believe the bearings in this, they look like skiffs. And judging from the M3 that Steve has sent me before, Steve seems to be a fan of the skiff bearings. I'm assuming he put those in here. But I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that they're skiff. And it also looked like it's a ceramic detent, which I don't know. Were they using those 5-7 years ago? Or did you put that in there too, Steve? I don't know. You tell me, man. But it looked like a ceramic detent. Not 100% sure. It does have a little bit of a different feel on the detent. Like, it almost hangs up. Almost. Like, it's a solid detent, don't get me wrong, but it almost hangs up. But it's a little class thing, and it's almost got to learn that knife, and I kind of dig that part of it. But the only complaint I really have about this is going to be that flipper tab being kind of that pokey thing like the Hendra does. Just needs to be rounded off just a little bit. But being this only deployment, you don't have no thumb studs, which, man, this thing, if it was mine, I'd definitely put thumb studs in it. And Steve, if you want thumb studs, let me know. I'll mod it for you. It just involves, you know, basically the worst part about this for a mod would be that it would cover up where it says G3 or G3f, and on this side where it says Bradford, that's where the stud would have to go. So it'd be an 1/8 hole in there with the studs on it, basically 1/4 studs. But that's basically where it needs to be, right? Right there, in that area. But it'll make it a cooler knife, like for me anyhow. I like multiple deployments, but if you don't care, just flipper, that's fine too. Matter of fact, you might even be able to put fuller in this one. I don't know. Anyhow, throwing ideas your way, Steve. If you want some of this stuff, you let me know, buddy. But I dig the knife. It's got a cool feel to it. And unlike the Chinese knives, like I was talking about, that 229, like this one has a distinct personality. It's a little quirky. It's a little finicky, and it has to be adjusted just right. Like, so I ain't gonna say it's better. It's definitely, I wouldn't put it on that level of saying better. It's different, and it's more what I like in a knife personally. Cool little pattern. It is super smooth. It's not. It's just a slight milled pattern, but they deburred it really well. Obviously, it's been anodized, and I could care less about the anodization personally, but I know some people are into that. The thing that I mentioned a minute ago about the titanium hardware is like, is that not a missed opportunity to you guys? Like, if you're going to put titanium hardware in there, why would you leave it natural? Like, why don't you just do something with it? Like, it would be cool if they put a bronzed, you know, something. Like, it's all titanium. And I might get it if you wanted to match the blade or something, but like, you know, you could do something better than that. I don't know. To me, it's just a missed opportunity. With Thai hardware, you'd want to like show why it's Thai. Otherwise, why have it? Might as well just make it stainless. Like, stainless is much stronger than Thai, especially in the hardware. And I hate Thai that this standoff is threaded. So this screw screws into that standoff, and this screw screws into that standoff. Anytime you do that, the titanium starts galling. Like, you can see it in some of the heads of these screws where they've gotten pretty tight, and someone had to take it out. And I ain't gonna say the hardware is screwed up, but it's marred, and it is what is titanium hardware. That's what happens with titanium hardware. But overall, I dig this knife. I really do. I'm glad Steve let me borrow it, and thanks Grumpy for sending it. I got a pretty strong opinion about it, and I think it's pretty cool. I dig it. And quite honestly, like, if it was mine, like I said, I'd round that flipper tab and add the thumb studs, and I'd call it a day. This thing would be pretty much done. I might, well, and I know the Thai hardware if I kept it, or I'd probably put stainless in it because I'm just that idiot that does that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely cool knife, and definitely more of a rare knife too, because I'm not seeing a whole lot of these around. Like, when Stevie showed it on his channel, that's the first time I was exposed to it. Like, I hadn't even, this was completely off my radar. I hadn't even heard of it, or if I had, I forgot, which, you know, he ain't saying nothing either. All right, almost 25 minutes in. I done nothing but sit here and bullshit the whole time. I don't know if I even, let me go back to this 229 for a second. If I didn't already say it, Apex Alchemy, Billy did a video on this one. Go back and watch that video, hear what he had to say about it. And then give me some comments. What do y'all think I should do in this? Obviously, the titanium scale. So, beyond that, I'm open ears. Y'all got suggestions stolen away? We're going to call it another week. Thank y'all for watching. And if you know these knives, either one of these knives, please contact them to tell them to contact me. Instagram or YouTube. I don't care. All right. Y'all be cool. Have a great week. Later, y'all.